Hi guys, how you doing? This is just going to be a newsletter style of video update where I'm going to talk about the new versions of some of the tools I've released for the good people in the war room. So I'm going to show you the new version of the trade panel. Something really new about it, apart from that it works with MT5, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that if you're interested in using it on MT5. And the chart builder has basically gone through a pretty decent rework, and a lot of problems fixed there to make it more reasonable. I'm just going to show you a few things there to make it, I'll show you a few issues until I get some more formal tutorials out. So let's start off with the trade panel. So I've got an MT5 account here. The critical thing that you need to know about MT5, and there's a bit of a grey area I'm not sure about, and that's with the guys in the USA. So if someone could get back to me on this, this would be great. But I'm in MT5. There's two types of accounts. Now, if you look on the title bar, you can see this word hedging here. If you can get that, that's perfect. Okay, it's basically a smooth transition from MT4 to MT5. They basically work pretty much the same way, and it will feel like a normal upgrade. However, if that hedging is not there, you have what's called a netting account, which is a pain in the ass. It means all your orders that you place in here, they all get consolidated into one position. So I'll sort of show you how that's working. So to make the trade panel work with a netting only account was a really big task. Like, it consumed a lot of my time, gave me actually a little bit of anxiety trying to get that thing working. So I've only kind of done some final testing today and released it. Now, most of you guys won't want to use that netting account. You probably won't like it. The only reason I've spent the time to make the trade panel work with the netting account is that I'm not sure if the US guys are allowed to have access to MT5 hedging accounts. Well, the MT5 hedging version of the software, but I'm not sure. You should be able to. I don't see why not. I mean, you can do it with MT4, but they released the netting account version to comply with US law in the first place. So I just don't know. And I've tried to search for a broker in the USA that has MT5, and none of them do. They're not even using it. So that could be the reason. But if somebody in the USA could get back to me on that, that would be great. Okay, so first thing here, with the trade panel, I've added a few more warning boxes to help you, if it's not loading properly or you don't have a setting on right, and just helpful error messages to help you navigate around problems. This one's just telling me that I don't have expert advisors enabled here, so it's telling me where I should go to basically to enable that, to make it work. So we need to go Tools, Options, Allow Automated Trading, and then we can load it up properly. So this is the trade panel on a hedging account. It's pretty much going to be no different to how you're using this on MT5, guys. MT4. It's just that this panel now is compatible with MT5 because MT5 has a different ordering system under the hood, and it will work. So, we could place a retracement entry. I set a demo account here, it's $1 million, so the numbers are a bit silly, but yeah, we could just go sell here, and you can see that it just opens one ticket, very nice. Or if you want to take a breakout entry of the previous candle, whatever, everything's like MT4, right? Now I'll just get rid of these. I made a nice little script for this. Close all orders. So one complaint I got with the previous version of the panel was that there is a safety mechanism built in under the hood for the trade panel, and that's just to stop your risk. Like, if you tell it that you want to risk, $1,000, then what it's going to do is calculate the lot sizing needed to actually risk 1,000, and then it's going to try and find the nearest lot sizing available at the market. Now, the next available lot sizing could be way off what we needed, and that's going to throw out your risk. So if the value is more than 10%, then it throws you this error. You've got to adjust your trade parameters because we can't find a lot size that meets your risk parameters, basically. Now this because it was percentage based, it was actually firing off a lot with people using like very low kind of play accounts, like $100 and things like that. So what I've done is actually I've put a warning in there now, and it gives you like a yes or no that if you want to accept the risk change. So we'll try to trigger it, and you could do this pretty easily by just saying I want to risk $1, and I don't know, we'll do a volatility stop loss and make it so freaking huge that there's no way that the lot size would be like basically making like an 1,000 pip stop, and telling it to find or calculate the lot sizing needed to risk $1 into 1,000 pips. It's just going to throw an error and saying, hey, there's no lot size for that. So we'll do that, and you can see here that this is the part that's changed. So some of you guys that had that previous error before will appreciate this. So it's a risk safety trigger. It's saying you wanted to risk $1, okay, but the lot size needed to risk $1, 0.01, it's not available. After applying the next available lot size allowed for the symbol, the trade risk is going to increase to $20. So you can see that, you know, if we told the panel to risk $1, but when it goes ahead and places the trade at the next available lot sizing, it's going to be 20. So that's basically 20 times. I know this is an extreme example, but I had to put that protection in there because I can't have people risk like saying they want a X dollar amount in here, and then it goes off and puts the lot sizing at the next available one, and that's not what you told it to risk. It'll be totally out. Now this would probably not be such an issue on currencies, but on like CFD commodities kind of thing, some of those markets, especially the more exotic ones, the lot sizing steps might be a bit extreme, and this risk spread here could be quite extreme. So I just put that safety net in. So if I press no, it doesn't open the trade. If I go ahead and press it again and I say yes, it goes ahead and opens the trade. So you actually have the choice now if you want to accept the risk. Okay, so that's basically, if you got the hedging account, that's all that you really needed to know there. So I'll show you with the netting account now. If you don't think that you will be using a netting account, you can just skip this part of the video. But I just have to change my account here. I believe this is the netting one, so I want to log in. And you can see that that hedge has gone from the title, which is basically your indicator that you're on a netting account. Okay, so now that we open the trade panel, some interesting things I've had to do. Oh, it's got that warning again. So yeah, there's a lot of workarounds that I had to do to make this work on this system. I'll try to get through them as quickly as I can, but basically I tried to make the user experience as similar as I could. So now if we wanted to do the same thing and we wanted to go for a retracement entry, yeah, and we just hit the sell button. So what I'm doing here is I'm placing dummy lines, okay, just to show that what the panel's actually monitoring for. So the way I figured out how to do this on a netting account is that you should only enter the trade at market, and I'll show you why in a second. So it just basically places these lines, and if you go to your trade monitor, the trade will be here, and if you want to cancel the trade, you can see this is all virtual at the moment. We don't have any actual real trade orders. As soon as the market touches that price, it'll actually get into the trade then. This is the safest way that I could figure out how to work around the netting account system. Now we could click remove. That's saying waiting for entry price. I'd have to fix this up later to give it a bit more width, but if we hit remove, it will just remove that from inside, and it won't trigger when it hits that entry price. So let me see if I can show you. We'll go enter at market, so we'll get some trades happening. Yeah, we'll do volatility stop loss. Okay, now let me show you something. So we hit buy. So we open a buy trade, okay, and here is our position, okay. Now with a netting account, you're only allowed to have one position open per symbol. All right, so any more orders that we throw into this pair here, the US dollar Swiss franc, they're just going to add in. So if I open another trade, that volume will get doubled if it's the same trade configuration. If I open another one, if I open another 0.73 lots in a long direction, then this will just double up here. Now, to place a stop loss and a target price, what I've actually done is created two new orders to act as a stop loss and target. And you can see in the comments there's your stop loss ticket and target price. Now, if you find yourself using a netting account, you don't want to screw with this because these are your exit points. Basically, this buy position doesn't have a stop loss and it doesn't have a target. It's using these other orders to exit the trade. See how a netting account system works is, if we have a buy position, if we want to exit that buy position, we have to actually do the reverse order. So we'd have to actually sell 0.73 lots, and then that would cancel out our buy trade and basically make us net zero. So you can see that the stop loss ticket and the take profit ticket, they're both a sell ticket for 0.73. So if the market actually touches our stop loss or our target, it will trigger those orders and that will cancel out our position. So yeah, it's a bit of a head spin trying to get your head around this, but let me show you. If I actually enter another trade again, okay, now I have two trades open, but you can see that I've only got one position. So we can do this as many times as we like. Okay, so we're up to 2.19 lots. Okay, and the panels open corresponding stop loss and take profit tickets. Now, like I said, this is a real pain in the ass system to work with. And I hope that US traders don't have to deal with this, but just in case, I've got sort of like a workaround here. There's a few restrictions. You can't open a straddle trade. So if I try to use a straddle trade, it should throw an error out. You can't do that on netting accounts. I tried to make it work, but I found that with the position system and trailing stops, it just really started to throw errors out. I don't want to go into the details now, but it just wouldn't work with this system. Maybe in the future I could like spend more time and try and find a workaround, but this system, like MT5 they upgraded it to try and make it work with the stock exchanges. So stock exchanges use this kind of system, apparently. They use this netting account kind of system. So yeah, if you ever wanted to trade stocks through MT5, you would have to be familiar with this netting account system, and the trade panel is basically ready to go for you. Now the thing is, with the stop loss and take profit tickets, you kind of don't want to screw with them. All right, you want to let the market touch them and exit it's via the stop loss or take profit. So the panel's basically in the monitoring section. It's actually monitoring these trades. I believe if I close off all the orders, yeah, see, I've confused it now because I've removed the orders, but the position's still open. But basically, you don't want to screw with those stop loss and take profit tickets, and because now I've got a position open that's basically exposed fully. We don't have a stop loss or take profit on that, and we can just exit there. So yeah, we've got to remove those. So when a stop loss or take profit ticket is hit, so let me just open another one. Whoops. We'll go back to enter at market. Okay, so when the stop loss ticket is hit, it will automatically delete that take profit order, so that there's not an order to enter the market there. And vice versa. If that take profit is hit, that will be closed as well. As you can see in the trade monitor here, it's monitoring the stop loss and take profit. Now, if we try to close the panel while we've got a trade, like a simple trade open that doesn't require any trailing stops or anything like that, the panel still needs to monitor this situation for the stop loss and take profit ticket, just to make sure that the opposite order is deleted on whichever side the market hits. So it gives you a warning here. You know, there's currently trades that need special control. Now, if we decide that we want to exit, that's fine. Okay. You can't leave the trade open like this, because let's say the market comes down, hits our stop loss, right? That will net out our position to zero, but we'll still have that rogue take profit ticket open here, okay? So if market comes down, stops us out, then we've got no position open, then all of a sudden we come up here, then we've got this sell limit here. We'll actually enter a sell trade for 0.72 lots and be in that way. So we don't want to leave these rogue sort of orders hanging out there, and that's what the trade panel is basically doing and monitoring. It cancels them out for you. So I just close the panel here. We can reopen it, okay, and it should tell us that it restored the trade. So we restore the trade, and there it is again, okay? So it remembered, basically with all the panels, trade configurations, it will save them on close, and if you accidentally close it and you reopen it, it should restore its current state and pick up where it left off. So that's a nice little handy feature. So that's basically the netting account system for MT5. Like I said, real pain in the ass. Hopefully you don't have to use it. I would not want to use this over the other system, but I just made the trade panel compatible just in case for the US guys, because I don't want them left out, and it's kind of like a workaround for you guys. Let me just talk about the chart builder quickly. So the chart builder is only basically made for MT4. Don't think we've got the same functionality with MT5. Like, let's say we wanted to create Renko charts for MT5. I don't think there's a way to do that at this stage. So when we load the chart builder, okay, we've got a history scan back limit here. So be cautious of these settings. This is the default here, I believe. So I'll hit reset. Yeah. So this is the default. It looks back to 2015. So that's basically, 3 years worth of data basically. That's fine. If you need more, you can adjust it here. So we go OK. And here's the new panel. So the previous UI design, the panel design, had all these different colored buttons and whatever. The previous developer that helped me with the panel, he just decided to do that, and I thought it was ugly. So I just went back to basics here and colored them, just like a nice simple design, not like a rainbow kind of color thing. One was blue, green, and red. It was horrible. So we've segmented the history loader and the build charts button into 2 different buttons now. So before we only had the build charts button, and every time you pressed it, it would engage the history loader as well. And I found that after using it a little bit, it was a pain in the ass as well. It was getting really annoying. So if you need to load history for whatever's in your list here, then you just press load history. Otherwise, you could just click the build charts button, and it will just use whatever history you've got available. So I think we've got the workspace controls here. You should be familiar with that. Basically lets you save your lists, load them. So I had a little Renko one here. So I saved it as Renko. I just click back and I can basically load my workspace where I left off. And this workspace, you've got to remember, it actually saves all your chart template settings. So if you had an indicator on one and one other, like say that you had the moving average on Euro US dollar, and this pound US dollar chart was a custom colored theme that you had, and whatever customizations you had, it will remember that too. So now I can just click load workspace, and quickly and easily we got what we needed. So one of the issues we found with MT4 is if you have really large lists here of custom charts, you can chew up memory quite quickly. And one of the culprits there was in tools, options, and particularly this area here. Okay, these numbers here, I find that a lot of traders have these maxed out to the full 32-bit integer. And that is a freaking huge number. And what you find with MT4 is if you request data on one candle, it pulls the whole history amount here, okay, into memory first, even if that's 1 billion, if it could do 1 billion. So yeah, I don't even know, I think it is 4 billion or something like that. Anyway, it will pull, let's say, the maximum amount that's set here, and basically pull all that into memory, So if we just want to know what the previous candle close was, it will use up like 1 GB worth of data, pull it all into history here and grab the data, and then yeah. So when you're generating 30 charts on the chart builder here, you just run out of memory and MT4 hangs, and this comes to a grinding halt, and basically it just goes like sluggish and just stalls, and yeah, you just think the program's crap, but what actually is happening is the MT4 is just running out of memory because it's a 32-bit system. It can't allocate memory past 4 GB, so you really hit that threshold quite quickly if these numbers are gross. So this is what I've set them as. You can play with this if you need more history on your charts, like that Renko chart that I showed you. You can bump these numbers up, experiment with them, but if you find that the program dies on you when you're trying to build the charts, you've probably set this too high. You can do Control-Alt-Delete and just check the memory usage in there. So yeah, like you can see that I've only got X amount of history here on a Renko chart. Renko charts are usually very history data intensive. You need a lot of 1-minute data to build a history, a full chart of a Renko candle chart. So yeah, you might have to play with this, but if this is all right for you, then you know, the less memory you use, the better, of course. And yeah, you can see I've got pretty decent charts here. I could probably bump it up if I wanted to. And if we close this, we can add a new chart. Okay, let's say we want a candlestick chart, US dollar yen, and I want an 8-hour chart. Okay, we can add that in, load the workspace. Okay, there it is. Now sometimes you'll get this corruption, and I think this will happen on the first load, and I think it is an issue coming from the old version. So what I normally do is I just close, reload, freshen that up a bit, and you can see it fixes itself up. Now remember, these are live charts. Okay, they say they're offline, but they're not. Okay, they're emulated as live charts by the panel here. Okay, so the panel actually keeps pushing, you know, new price data into these custom charts, so they act as live charts. Whoop. And you can add your indicators and whatever on here. Like, let's say for example on Renko, the way that this panel differs from usual Renko kind of generators is that, where is it? Trend, moving average. So we put a 50 moving average on there. This moving average is actually using the actual Renko charts, whereas some kind of poorly designed Renko chart builders, they just sort of like print these Renko charts over the top of a candlestick chart. So if you add a moving average onto that kind of chart, it will be using the candlestick data underneath and the Renko, not the Renko data that you want. So you can put any indicator you want on here, and any expert advisor, it will actually use the Renko data because it's actually generating it like a real native MT4 chart as Renko. Okay, same with any of them really. We do Heikin Ashi as well on here. Where are we? We want to add a candlestick. We can add Heikin Ashi. Okay, make a pound one. We can make that an 8-hour Heikin Ashi. We can go all exotic, make it a London Open chart. Add that. Close, open. Okay, and there's our Heikin Ashi chart. And again, the Heikin Ashi chart is acting as a native MT4 chart. So if we go ahead and add that, like that moving average on there, okay, you can see it's actually using the Heikin Ashi data directly. All right, so I think that's it. That's just the update that I had for you guys. So try this out. Just remember, when you use a trade panel, all right, make sure that just use these numbers if you want as a starting point, and then you can actually increase these or decrease these. These work as a nice little, like, a starting number, and you generate your charts and see what kind of history you get. If you need more, add more. Just don't go too silly with it. So we fixed a lot of bugs with this version as well. There's a bit of issues with the workspace not loading. Some of the buttons crashed the program when you pressed cancel, so we just went through it again, and it seems to be pretty stable now. So give it a go. Let me know what you think. If you're using MT5, let me know how the trade panel goes. I've basically been testing that all week, making sure that it does what it's supposed to do. The netting account, it's a pain in the ass. I've tried to accommodate for that as much as possible. If anyone's in the US and can tell me if they can get access to MT5 and you're allowed to use that hedged version, let me know, because I just can't get an answer on that right now. And if you can find a broker in the USA that's offering MT5, let me know about that as well, and I'll see if I can get their platform and do some testing on there as well. But they're the new tools. Basically, you can go to the Forex Guide tools here, go to downloads and guides. Okay, and this is the download page. Okay, you just press this button here to get the latest tool pack, and it shows you the versions of what's inside. Make sure you update your DLL version as well, okay, because that has been upgraded as well. Some bug fixes in there, and a few things added to accommodate these new features. So that's always important, that you must upgrade that. In the tool folder as well, you'll now find an MT4 folder and an MT5 folder. Okay, so obviously you'll open the MT4 folder and use what's in there for MT4, and vice versa for MT5. One important thing is the DLL versions are different for MT4 and MT5. All of the contents are different between MT4 and MT5. Don't get the DLL from MT4 and put it in MT5 install. You'll get an error. Basically, MT4, it's a 32-bit system. It's old school. MT5, it's a 64-bit. Okay, and that the DLLs have to accommodate for that as well. And that should be a nice little update for you guys. That's enough. Give me some feedback on the new tools if you can. That's always appreciated. And I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the war room.